Pokemon Winds and Waves is just the start of the future of Pokemon. It seems like Game Freak are really going to be going absolutely insane and are going to try to be more creative. Now that's a great thing to do, is to be more creative. I think we could all use this in a Pokemon game, especially since they got some real competition out there. I mean, bro, they cannot be slacking right now. And essentially we did get an official piece of information here that does confirm this, so make sure to stick around for this whole video because we got a lot to talk about. So of course, make sure to subscribe, turn on the post notifications, help reach my goal of 50,000 subscribers. Let's hop right into it. Right here, Game Freak has confirmed in an interview that they expect that the classic turn-based battle system may disappear or heavily change in the future main series Pokemon games, and created Pokemon champions to preserve the classic gameplay moving forward. Okay, so I guess some people could take this as good and, great news, and there will be people that will take this as terrible news. So of course, the classic turn-based battle system is great. It's called the classic for a reason. So it seems like specifically Pokemon Champion. So it seems like yet another reason why Pokemon Champions was created was to preserve the classic turn-based battle systems, which is a W. We have a whole game based just around that, and there will be more added to this game. They're going to eventually add some of the other battle evolution gimmicks and more Pokemon over time. So Pokemon Champions is a game that's going to last for a while. So now let's talk about the good news and the bad news throughout this specific announcement. Bad news. So it seems like the classic turn-based battles are going to disappear or heavily change going on, Pokemon Generation 10, Gen 11, and 12, and some of the other mainline games, such as some of the new Legends games like Legends Galar, which I think for a Legends game, without a doubt, it should have a completely different battle system because, it is a Legends game, so everything's already different as it is. And the good news about this is that this is change. Pokemon are trying to adapt, they're trying to change, and they're trying to do new things that will lead them into a bigger and brighter future. And of course, some of these things that they will try probably won't hit correctly, and they will not be as some sort of other battle system, and then some may be even better than the classic turn-based battle system. So what does this mean for Pokemon Winds and Waves? Winds and Waves, well, believe it or not, we do have some insiders that have told us what they think or what they believe with their information of what the battle systems should be like in Generation 10, and let me tell you, it actually seems pretty interesting. So I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the battle system for Winds and Waves will basically kind of be like Legends ZA, where you could move around with your Pokemon, but it will be turn-based, meaning you're not going to have to wait for the moves to recharge just like it was in Legends ZA. So now this is one of those things that could change. They could change this before the game does come out, and it could be a completely different battle system. They could go back to like just the regular locked classic turn-based battles, which I would be okay with, honestly. But think about Legends Arceus and Legends ZA did have a different battle system, and I thought those were pretty great. I cannot complain about those at all, honestly. And of course, like I mentioned earlier, Pokemon Champions is going to be there to preserve that classic turn-based battle system, and this isn't specifically just for Generation 10 either, guys. This is much further than that. This goes for Gen 11, 12, and like I said, all the other, mainline Pokemon games. I'm also thinking about the MMO that they're dropping that is still in production, and I'm gonna make a video about that soon. That's actually really good news because I have a good feeling with this evidence that we recently kind of figured out that the Pokemon MMO, the official MMO that is, could be a fantastic game, and I really think that's specifically one of the upcoming titles that they really need to lock in with. And also, this is one of those things where they have been demonstrating this for the last couple of years. We have seen Pokemon try new things. All the games are different. Even though some games may not be a complete 180 difference, you can see the evolution of how they have been changing the battle systems, the combat, the way our Pokemon interact with other Pokemon and everything. So I really do think they're going to learn how to master this. At least I really hope so, because could you imagine if we got a 10 out of 10 peak Pokemon game in the modern day? Just imagine playing Winds and Waves, and after you're done playing it, you're like, yeah, this is an instant classic. These are the type of Pokemon games that they need to be pushing out, and I've been saying this for a long time. I think that they're aware of that, guys. I think they have listened to us. I think they are understanding what the fans want, although it is one of those things where like they are a big company, and this is Game Freak we're talking about, which sometimes, I'm not even gonna lie, they do kind of underwhelm us. This also just gives Game Freak the freedom to experiment with other features as well in Pokemon games, just like and specifically with the attacks, you know, like the way we can move around with our Pokemon, the interactions with the environment around us, like the grass, water. And I do believe we had a leak for Winds and Waves that basically said it's going to do just that, whereas like if you use a fire type move, the grass is going to burn around you, although that's one of those things that it could be scrapped by the time they actually do drop the game. Cooldowns, just like they had in Legends ZA, or just different ways of actually battling with your Pokemon. And on top of that, of course, there will be the battle evolution mechanics or gimmicks, whatever you want to call them, like Mega Evolution, Z-Move, Dynamax, all those. So this is also going to go hand in hand with that, because obviously that's going to be a part of the big mainline Pokemon games, is there going to be a new kind of gimmick with every new generation, it seems. And honestly, on the good news side of things, it does just make every new generation that much more exciting and that much more interesting, because we're hopping into it with the expectation of something brand new, rather than with the exact same battle format that we have had for 30 years now, which I'm not saying it's bad to use that battle format. I would still be happy if they use the regular classic turn-based, but I'm down for something new. I'm trying to be optimistic here, okay? However, moving on to some quick ball news, which I still have yet to find somebody that can make a cool animation of this segment. So yeah, quick ball news, let's get into it. We do have a new artwork of Brout, Pombon, and Gekwa for the NHK Symphony Orchestra and Pokemon Classic Concert Tour. So obviously it's just the regular starters, but look at the art style. It's so dope to see these Pokemon in a little bit of a different art sense. So yeah, let me know how you guys are feeling about this. I'm still definitely gonna pick Gekwa. I mean, bro, look at that fool. Still looks exactly like Littlest Pet Shop. And here is the poster or artwork, whatever that they made. Really cool to see the starter Pokemon just playing some instruments. Interestingly enough though, the Gen 10 Pokemon are not playing an instrument. So what's up with that, man? And a reminder, guys, there is a Pokopia flash announcement, or whatever you want to call it, during the World's preview show. Apparently, we don't know what it is. It might be something for the DLC, but I don't know. I have a feeling it's going to be something unexpected. I am standing by the fact that there's going to be an event to have the Generation 10 starters in the game. That's my theory. Or it even just could be an announcement of a ton of other new Pokemon being added to the game, like another 100 or something total. Free 5,000 VP for Pokemon Champions with this code, and if you use this link, which is from Central Leaks, you can redeem it instantly, so make sure to do that. And then here is the code, or it's also right here. And speaking of more Pokopia news, with Pokemon XP and Worlds, there is going to be a really sick Cloud Island that you can visit for those events. So of course you're going to need your mysterious goggles, which I don't believe they've announced the code for this. This is probably going to be announced around that time, maybe on that exact day, maybe a couple of days beforehand. But yeah, this is so sick that they're doing some sort of interactive, I guess, gameplay feature within Pokopia to go hand in hand with the new XP event and Pokemon Worlds. Now let's talk about the schedule for all the upcoming events. So Serby saying the Pokemon Events app has been updated ahead of the Pokemon XP and 2026 World Champions next week. Contains a schedule, map, and more, which you could also see right here. Talk about the Pokopia event. The latest Terra Raid battle is in Scarlet and Violet for the Mighty Farigiraf event. We got one of the goats that always comments on every single video that I know is going to be hyped for this, so shout out to you, bro. There's also more Farigiraf love in Paldea with mass outbreaks, so that's pretty exciting. The latest episode of Pokemon Horizons has dropped. Pokemon Sleep, there is a special event gift from today until October 22nd, where you can receive the Captain Pikachu right here. Of course, the Pokemon World Championship code we talked about. Battles have begun for Pokemon Champions monthly series, August 2026 online competition. And here's some of the details right here if you want to pause and read. Pokemon Unite received an update with a lot of new things added to the game. Pokemon Events app, which I actually have never downloaded. Let me know if you guys use this. But basically showing like a map and all the schedule activities for Worlds and Pokemon XP. TCG Pocket has a new themed booster pack after Team Rocket, which is so sweet. Masters EX has a special sync pair event where you can basically have vouchers to exchange for items and stuff. And then Pokemon Cafe Remix has another event, which is the Alolan Raichu event, where you can get a pancake Alolan Raichu. That is so sick. My favorite Pokemon is Raichu. Can we please get this in Pokopia or something like that, bro? I want Alolan Raichu to be walking around as a chef, bro. That is so sick. Anyway, that is all for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you are around watching this far, comment down below Sunshine. Just the word sunshine. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.